Hey everybody, it's Aluna Michaels, Esoteric Astrologer, coming at you to talk about the events of August 2019. Sorry it's a little bit late this month. There's some stuff going on with Mercury turning direct, which we'll talk about. Also was at the beach, so my hair looks a little crazy today, but I said I have to do my video because it's the 6th now. So, okay, let's talk about Mercury went direct, yay. It's a little bit of an interesting Mercury retrograde. Because there was a lot of planets opposing Mercury as it was doing these things. So it was bringing up a lot for people. So Mercury went direct basically on August 1st, but it can still feel the energy can still feel a little bit stuck because Jupiter is also about to turn direct. Now, Mercury goes direct 3 times a year for about 3 weeks at a time. Jupiter, well, all the outer planets, let's just say Jupiter and Saturn are outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, they're all going to go retrograde once and then direct once. So on the 10th and 11th this weekend, Jupiter's turning around. And Jupiter is about how things coordinate together. So it can kind of be on some level similar to Mercury when they're both doing that, because Mercury's about just how boop, boop, getting stuff done and communicating and getting from here to there and stuff like that, the day running smoothly. And Jupiter has a lot to do with coordinating pieces, so it can kind of still feel a little bit Mercury retrograde for some people right now. But on the bigger picture, Jupiter is about faith, hope, fun, playfulness, abundance, and Jupiter is actually moving forward in Sagittarius, which is Jupiter and Sagittarius are linked. So it's even more oomph that it's going forward and reclaiming a lot of kind of joyousness. Jupiter went retrograde in April, so sometimes you can think about a project that was going on or some sort of idea you had that kind of fell by the wayside. Things can be picked up and taken action with at this point. Or sometimes you needed to do some research about something and now it's time to kind of hit the ground running with enthusiasm, which is another Jupiter word, so that's good. The other thing that's intriguing, I was looking at the full moon on August 15, and then the new moon is on August 30th. And when we have the full moon, the moon will be opposite Mars. And then at the new moon, the moon is conjuncting Mars, close to Mars. So that can be, just show the whole month you can be a little bit edgy. Some people can be edgy. But it's this idea, like especially that Jupiter going forward, is like, let's get it done, And the moon and Mars working together twice in the full and new moon is also that kind of idea that, you know what, enough of this. Got to take care of this stuff, I'm going to do it, or I'm going to just create a plan that really works and then put the plan in action. There's like this inspiration and then the energy to carry things through. So that's the best part of the month with those angles happening. But some people that can come down as being pushy or aggressive or this kind of thing. So just be aware if people are especially snappy around the 15th and 30th. We're getting into the new and full moon. But what's also interesting this month, when we go later in the month, is, actually, let me take a step back and tell you about Uranus turning retrograde. So, like I said, the outer planets go retrograde once and direct once. So the planet Uranus happens to be in Taurus. Uranus has an 84-year orbit, so it stays in the sign for a long time. We'll talk about Uranus and Taurus for a while, 7 years. So Uranus turning backwards, when it's sitting still like that, it's not so much an issue when a big planet is retrograde, because it'll be retrograde for months. But when it turns around, it's like, let's pay attention to this. So Uranus turning retrograde, Uranus is also a sense of creativity, intellectual freedom, breaking habits and things like that. As Uranus turns around, it gives you that insight into blending your discipline with freedom and seeing that you have more freedom when you make plans, or instead of being haphazard, because sometimes Uranus can be just like whatever, but it ultimately wants to be free and streamlined. So, but it can resist that channeling, let's say. So when Uranus is sitting still like this, it's a time to say, like, whatever I really want, whatever I think is going to make me more free, whatever, again, brings me the sense of inspiration. Like, say you want to be meditating every day. Or just meditating in general. It's like, I want to make a plan to do that. I'm going to do this every day between this time and that time, or at this part of my house or something. So you are creating like kind of a nest to have that miracle drop into it. Where's that life change going to happen, but how do I create an allowing for it to happen? And that can be a good thing to be meditating on this month, about making sure that you're still following through on the dream, and what steps can you be taking to make it more likely to happen. So later this month, of course, the sun's going to go into Virgo, goes from Leo to Virgo later in August, and then Venus will also move into Virgo, and so will Mars. So all three babies will be working together. And the sun, is passion and excitement. So is Mars, too. They're very similar in the sense of vitality. Mars is more of an action around it. The sun is kind of like, yeah, like this is who I am. I know it. Venus is what you love doing, and it's also very harmonious. So when you have Sun and Venus and Mars close together, it creates a lot of ease in expressing yourself, in kind of walking your talk. It can be good for new jobs, new relationships, or a fresh take on those things. And especially if you're doing anything body-centered, Virgo has a lot to do with health and supplements, or health habits, whether, again, it could be meditating, it could be exercising, things that are kind of creating all over emotional and physical health is Virgo. So starting out in a new program like that is good. Of course, it's back to school time, and that can be fun to start your own little personal lessons and continuing those that program of effort for yourself. And it becomes easy to do with all those Virgo planets together. Also, this Uranus retrograde, used to say Mercury retrograde, Uranus is in Taurus, which trines, makes a good angle to Virgo. So that Taurus gives a sustained effort to things. So, and because again, it's the planet of Uranus, it's like more inspiration around it, getting to see big results from it and say, wow, like when I really do this, this really works, and to be able to be inspired to continue whatever this new relationship, new job, new set of practices for yourself. It's like you get a yes from the universe, like I'm on to something, So that's a great energy from this month too. So let me see if there's some other things I wanted to touch on. I haven't talked too long today. Well, the one thing is, we'll talk more about this in September, but Saturn, a lot about this retrograde business today, Saturn is slowing down, about to turn direct in September. And again, we'll talk about it more, but as it slows down, what you need to watch out for is self-criticism and overly critiquing yourself, or just being impatient for results. So it's like if there's that little doubt voice, like, nope, I'm going to turn to that Uranus, Venus, Sun, Mars, like, nope, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to put the doubting Thomas in me aside, or just say, okay, that's all right. Thank you for sharing, or maybe you also want to be, if you are making new plans or doing something you feel in your heart, like, yeah, this is right. If you've got a friend or person in your life who does say, oh, don't do that, or you shouldn't try, or you'll never stay on that diet or whatever, don't even tell them. If they're going to be your Saturn retrograde person, it's like, don't tell that person. I'm just going to let my results speak for themselves. Now I don't have to tell anybody what I'm doing. I can just be this new me, instead of hear any sort of their experience about it that didn't work or whatever. So, but more than likely that Saturn retrograde can be in your head. Like, oh, I've already done this before. I already tried a new relationship before. I already tried a new diet before. I already tried meditating before. It's like, well, I'm going to try again, and I'm going to enjoy it and play with this energy. It's very playful, that second half of August. Even Jupiter going direct is like, yay, So keeping that attitude of playfulness, and don't let Saturn, when Saturn's kind of grinding to slow down like it is, it's got to be hard. It's like, no, it can be fun too. We can do a lot of successful things while we're having a good time and enjoying ourselves. It doesn't have to be this big struggle thing. So being aware of that little voice in you or in anyone else. and enjoy yourself. Not so much to say here for the month, not too long of a story, but playing, enjoying, again, sort of dodging if someone's in a little mood, if they get their own Mars thing going. Like I said, that full and new moon, the 15th and 30th. But otherwise, enjoy yourself, and I'll talk to you next month. Again, if you ever want a session from me, lunamichaels.com, or you can text me at 248-583-1663. And I've got my little book on Amazon too, the 12 the spiritual gifts of the 12 astrological signs. I always forget what it's called. So bye bye for now.